Hello, anybody there?
Recording in progress.
Okay, we'll call the March Property and Rec Committee meeting to order. Meeting properly noticed.
Yes, it was.
Okay, roll call, let the record show committee members present. Phil McLaughlin sitting in for Mike Baker and Jerry Taylor is on via Zoom. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay. What would you like to change?
I would like to change, item B. I would like to change item B to discuss the act or on opening county campgrounds to motorized traffic, to discuss that before item A, resolution to participate, because I think one is, has a bearing on the other. And whether we act or discuss that would have a bearing on the resolution. And also, why do we have discuss and act on truck bids twice?
Two different departments. One's maintenance, one's parks.
So there's a truck involved in each department? Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to change the agenda items, swapping A and B on number 11. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll swap those two. Now, the motion to approve the agenda overall. So move, Phil,
Second.
Josh, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Need a motion to approve the minutes from February 13th.
Jerry Taylor, so moved.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from February 13th. We have a second? I'll second. Motion and second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Jerry opposes?
No, he made a motion.
Minutes are approved. Public participation, we have one person signed up to speak on item 11B. We'll take that one if we get to it. Is there any correspondence?
I have no correspondence.
Okay, project status report. Kyle?
Yep, this should have been updated by the departments to show any new updates on the project status report. Are there any questions? Oh, it's not attached on there.
No, there's nothing attached.
No.
We'll have to give it all verbal.
It's just the same document we use every time, so I thought it would have been on there. My bad.
Bill?
Since I'm not a regular, what is the project?
All of our ongoing projects. He's gonna update us.
Okay, I'm just, to somebody who wouldn't, who isn't here, wouldn't necessarily know what that means.
I got it linked. Okay, can everybody see the project status report?
So, yeah, it's just going through all the different projects in the maintenance department, so replacing the AC units, that project is completed as of 3/6. Upgrading the HVAC controls for LEC building, replacing the roofs in the courthouse. Those highlighted ones, those ones are complete and they're gonna be removed from the next report. And then you also have the parks projects going on as well. New shower building and dump station at Pete and Will expansion. There's been some updates on there. Oh, they closed it on March 9th for bidding.
No, I guess that needs to be updated. There's been pushback on that.
Okay.
That's reflected in my report.
So are there any specific questions on project status report?
It's not. Okay, treasurer's report. Danny,
Hello, hello. Tax deeds, we are in the process, we're getting to where we're typing up the court order, and hopefully we'll get that to Corporation Council at the end of this week, no later than next week, so we can get that rolling before assessor stuff coming back and bombarding us. It's looking really good, but we started out with almost 200. When we first started here in October, we're down to about 50, and that's probably the lowest. I'll guarantee that's the lowest we've ever started with for the court order. So we'll see between now and then, and in the next month or so, we will get everybody's information going, and when we, next couple of months, get started on sale.
okay, any questions for Jenny? Okay, moving on, maintenance report. Bill,
Good afternoon. Hope everybody had a chance to look at my written report. If there's any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them.
any questions on the maintenance report?
We've been busy, let's put it that way.
Besides snow.
Besides the snow, yeah.
I don't see any questions, everybody's happy. Okay, discuss and or act on truck bids for maintenance.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Yep, so we got bids from AF Motors and from what is it? Ewald? Oh, sorry, Napleton, for Chevy Silverado. AF Motors came in quite a bit cheaper than Napleton. They're about $45,000. Napleton was just around 50,000. Bill pointed out to me earlier today, though, that it didn't have
Factory undercoating or factory bed liners,
on the quote,
which
so.
are very inexpensive if you do it when you order it, so.
Yeah, so what we're looking for is approval from the committee to go forward. Our recommendation would be with AF Motors, as they're the lowest bidder, but to allow it not to exceed amount of about 47,000 to allow for the bed liner and the undercoating.
so we need a motion to go to the bid from AF Motors not to exceed 47,000.
I have a question.
Yes,
What's the estimation on that undercoating?
I believe that last time we purchased a truck was in 2019. That's the last time they had the government bids open. I think it was $1,000 for the undercoating. And right around the same thing for the factory sprayed and bed liner package.
How can we get that included in this? Or that's a pretty important thing to have done.
Oh, I agree. Every vehicle that we've sold recently that's been a little older, the problem with them has been the cancer, the rust on them. And it's Wisconsin winters is what's killing them.
Right.
So that's why I think Rocky was saying that, you know, not to exceed price on it or.
47. So we have enough leeway to include that. So do I have a motion?
Did one bid the undercoating and one didn't?
No.
Neither of them did.
No, they've been straight apples to apples.
Oh,
What is
I have a
that?
question,
44.
Mr. Chair.
45.
Can we get it on the floor first? Before we
Sure.
discuss it?
Go ahead.
Down AF's bid sheet.
We need a motion to accept the bid. We need a motion to accept the bid for the truck. Jerry? Nobody wants to make a motion to accept the bid?
I have trouble
There's trying to.
Jerry,
Yes.
Guess what?
we're looking for a motion to accept the bid for the truck for maintenance department. Not to exceed 47,000.
Okay, I'll move. I move to accept.
Jerry still moves. Bill?
Well, I just gonna maybe need to be clarified. I think it's clear that people want more discussion for one thing. Number two, are you asking just to accept?
A motion to accept the low bid not to exceed
Okay, so
47,000.
there is a motion to accept.
There isn't a motion.
Right, you're shooting for a motion to accept the
Yeah.
specific bid, yes or no?
The low bid, which is AF Motors, not to exceed
And I'm just
47,000.
saying that it's clear to me, people want more discussion. Anybody, that's why you're not getting anybody to make a motion. Well, that's why I'm trying to get some clarification. What is it you're actually trying to do? I mean, the people have questions, and if you're asking them to go directly to choosing the vendor.
AF Motors is the low bid. We want a motion to accept that bid. Should be accept the low bid.
That doesn't know, you don't have to go with the lowest bid. So I guess I'll let other people speak up for themselves, but it seems to me that people have questions they want to ask, and they're being put into a corner to make a motion that they're not ready to do it. What do I know?
Okay, did Jerry make the motion? Jerry made the motion to accept the AF Motors bid not to exceed 47,000. I'll second the motion. Now, is there any discussion? Bill?
Chair, where do the monies come from? For
Pat?
Mr. Chair. Yeah, we have capital funds. We budget for every year, and we have the vehicles scheduled for replacement. I think Parks was actually supposed to be last year, but it was delayed.
It was supposed to be
Maintenance,
2020.
maintenance is supposed to be 2020.
Yes, we haven't been able to get on it. They haven't taken a government order since the pandemic started, so we haven't been able to order any vehicles through the government contract pricing.
Okay, so the capital fund is in the Parks Department?
Well, that's why we have the other one for the truck bids. It's gonna be the parks for the other one.
Well,
but- or, yeah,
There is money available in the maintenance
correct.
and the park.
Yep.
Okay, I see there was a sale of 18,000. Was that for the old trucks? It was in the park,
Maintenance and parts.
maintenance and parks.
Yeah, well, they're separate.
Well, okay. It was in the parks report.
Well, we're working on maintenance now.
Okay, you're gonna take these one at a time.
Josh?
Mr. Chair, I have a questions for Kyle. Kyle, what's the total of those capital funds that we get annually? That's in the budget there. Can you tell me, please?
I have to pull up the capital budget. We budget about $700,000 every year for maintenance for their capital needs. We don't necessarily spend it all every single year, though. That's how much we budget for ultimate replacement of the assets. Some years we could spend more than that 700,000, some years we could spend less. Did you want to know the balance of the
Yes, please.
cash reserves right now?
Yeah, and then what happens with that? Extra fund if it's not spent?
It just carries over from year to year if we don't spend it. It's kind of like a savings account for the department, but because we have these funds as committed funds, they're committed for specific purchases such as capital items like this truck. I'm pulling up, my system shut down on me as I was pulling up the exact amount right now. Yeah, as of right now, maintenance has about $1.1 million in cash.
So is that carried over?
Every year,
So
so.
how much was carried over from last year? Is that, so if I'm doing my math here, right, we got about 400,000. Carried over from last year, is that? Right,
So at the start of this year, they started with $446,000, but as part of the budget, we moved $700,000 roughly from the general fund over to maintenance for their capital needs, and the funding source from the general fund would have been from the unassigned fund balance, so cash reserves on hand that we have no designated purpose for. So what we did with the budget is we designated that these funds are going to be transferred to maintenance for capital.
I think,
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Mr. Chair. What is this replacing a truck that's already there?
Yes, this is replacing a 2003 Chevy, pickup truck to half ton that we have now, the 2003.
And what happens to that then?
That will be sold, the funds will be applied toward the capitals. Does that go back to the capital? Yes, goes back to the capital, whatever we get out of the sale.
Thank you.
Josh,
do we have an estimate on the value of that 2003?
I'm gonna say it's not a high estimate. That truck is 20 years old, has 120,000 miles on it, and it's very rusted. I can tell you right now that it's not in great shape. I don't know what we'll get for it. I don't want to guess, Josh.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
any more discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to accept the AF Motors bid not to exceed $47,000 for a new truck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Parks Department report.
Can you hear it?
Good morning, everybody. I guess the highlight of it is that Hyder is
Muted. You can't talk.
survey for the outdoor recreation plan. Link
Turn the
is
volume. up. Why
posted
don't you turn the regular volume up?
along as, and also on our website. There'll be an ad in the next paper highlighting this plan and for the survey. Other than that, we've been kind of keeping the snow cleared and finishing up our winter projects as we begin our summer prep.
You're not even on a hotspot right now.
Any other questions as far as the report goes?
Are there any questions on the Parks report?
Yes, I have.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Can I hear what? Bill, that's the question.
LTE, what does that stand for? Limited term employment. Okay, that's it. And then, there's a ATV grant now in parks.
Yes, currently there's maintenance grants that the Parks Department holds for snowmobile trails. Maintenance and grooming and ATV, UTV trail maintenance and grooming. They are reoccurring on a annual basis. Currently, there's also a ATV, UTV development grant for some new trails that was applied for a year ago and year and a half ago, and we were working on that, and that's what I referenced to the I guess it's not necessarily on this report, but where I'm trying to get those miles to go into maintenance miles versus development miles. It's a different funding source.
So these are countywide trails.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Josh?
Mr. Chair. Now, this includes snowmobile trails, is that right?
As far as the report, Josh?
Yes.
Yes.
So my understanding, a lot of these snowmobile clubs, they do a lot of the maintenance on the behalf of the individual club. For example, the Grand Marsh Pathfinders, I know when we had those big storms, did a lot of work, and I know there was a lot of work that was done by the volunteers as well in the community. So I'm wondering, my question is, how was this applied? And or was it applied during those issues when we had that storm early in the season, knocking down trees, branches, impeding the snowmobile trails?
I guess your question would refer more towards what was on the report from last month about the storm damage where the ORV council or the snowmobile rec council has approved potential additional funding over and above the trail maintenance grooming accounts towards some of that storm damage, because the way the program is set up, each club in snowmobile or each mile in snowmobile is granted $300 per mile for maintenance on that said mile trail to be dispersed throughout the county, with myself as the trails coordinator to be the overseer of that. That potential with this extra work from the storm you're referring to back in December, there's a chance that we would go over the initial funding of $300 per mile, and they opened up a storm damage estimate grant that was taken in the first of the month, and that may be a resource to help those clubs become whole for the money that they've spent. Correct.
How do we find out if this was applied during that time? For example, to the Grand Marsh Pathfinders, because I'm not aware of any.
I guess
that were applied and such.
I guess you'd have to take my word for it that I applied for it.
Okay.
I guess I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to determine if there was any resources applied during that time back in December where the trails were not open due to the damage, and if there was any emergency assistance applied to this grant to any of these snowmobile clubs, particularly the Grand Marsh Pathfinders.
No, there's no emergency funding. It's all after the fact, and they do the work with the potential to be paid. Not that they're going to be guaranteed anything. When it's run above.
I understand a lot of them did it on a voluntary basis. I don't think there was any compensation involved as far as I know from any grants or anything like that. So that's what I was wondering about. Thank you.
Any other questions on the report? Okay, moving on. 11B, discuss and act on opening county campgrounds for ATV, UTV traffic. We have one person signed up to speak.
Up there, you're
Sure.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair, Gilder and Property and Recreation Committee for hearing me. I'm Terry Marshall. I've have a site at the Castle Rock Park, and I've had one there for many years, and I am a UTV activist and enjoy it. What I'm here today to talk about basically is looking at a source of revenue for you. I hear things about trucks and maintenance and stuff like that. Who doesn't like a source of revenue? You know, and we could call this a privilege fee to have an ATV, UTV in the park on your seasonal and your yearly sites where they're not allowed. I know that Petenwell has a separate area up to the side, but they also have other areas that some people may want to ride out of. Castle Rock has one across the street, but a lot of us want to stay where we're at, and we'd like to be able to ride in and out. So it could be modeled basically somewhat similar to what your motor vehicle fees are. You know, the third vehicle coming into the park has to pay a daily fee. I believe that's what, is that $5, you guys? Or something like that for a third vehicle to come in? And so if we model it after that, the park can set a daily or weekly fee, or even a seasonal fee, you know, for people that stay their season long. The seasonal, like I said, could be set up for annual or seasonal. The township has an ordinance, for operating ATVs in UTVs. You could actually model your time span following, what your township has. So that way they're not gonna be in there riding, from the hours of 11 till 6 in the morning. Not like a motorcycle starting up or a hot rod starting up in the middle of the night. These are respectable people that go to and from their sites to get in and out of the park. As far as lost my train of thought. You've got park maintenance, host employees, that do a very, very good job. And they monitor things, during the middle of the night. You've seen where they'll come out, talk to people. We really appreciate that. As far as keeping noise down. As far as maintaining, the vehicle parking fees. I gotta really comment what happened down in the park last year at Castle Rock. Your staff was around, whether they're around in their gator or walking, they checked vehicles. And they actually asked me, where's my parking pass? Well, it was in my truck, in the dash. Please put it in the window, and I did. I think that's great. This is the way that they can keep track, who's coming and going, because with cars, you don't know just what two cars are going to be on the site. For the UTV, it's quite obvious. That's got to have its own separate pass. And it can definitely raise some revenue. So I don't think it's really a lot of extra work as far as the park staff goes. So in closing, I'd like you to really consider the thought as a revenue source that could bring in funds to put towards your blacktopping, your purchasing equipment, and etc. UTVing is a recreation and will be there for many, many years to come. Please note that this could not only bring in hundreds of dollars, but potentially thousands to put into that revenue source with next to very little labor or cost to the park. It's something that they're doing every day, monitoring the parking passes, and cost-wise stickers. Now, I would like to have it as a privilege, and I know a lot of other people would too, that are bringing them in on their trailers. They gotta take them, tuck back onto that trailer, go across the road, unload it, and then when you come back, you gotta load it back up. They don't want to leave them set across the road or places where they can't be monitored. They're $35,000, $40,000 units, and I would like to keep it on my site. And I just think it's a very, very good revenue source for you guys to consider and to look at. And it's a better way of controlling it. It's a privilege, and that's the way it should be addressed. You mess up, you're done, you're out. Come back next year. That's my spiel.
Okay, any questions for Terry? Yeah.
I guess my only comment would be is that, from our perspective, we're not against ATVs. I think a lot of people come down and try to use our ATVs. But our parks are pretty congested. My only concern about this is from a safety aspect. We have a hard enough time just keeping vehicles to drive at decent speeds. We'll add a few more vehicles to the mix. Right now, technically, ATVs are not allowed anywhere in Castle Rock. There is a section at Terrence Park, ATV campground, that they're allowed to use it. So, I guess that's my concern. It's kind of an accident waiting to happen. I don't want to be against ATVs. I'd like to.
You did it.
They're not allowed at all. I would like to open up the east side of the and those sites over there. It's a lot less congested. It doesn't get used much. Not a lot of kids. I'd be in favor of that. But I would have a concern of opening up anything on the west side of the sea. That's just my comment and feeling. Darren, do you have any comments?
I guess I really don't have anything other than what you already have. We are. Safety is a large concern in the major congested portions of the park. It's not just the fact that I understand that the good share of these people that may be doing this are going to be followers of the rules and respectful of others. But if you open it up, you can't say you're gonna have other people other than to and from. We run into the issue where it's a continual process to try to make sure people are not going where they're not supposed to be and creating more safety hazards for people. Having a parking lot or something to move to and from, which we do on our main portion of the park, works great on our end. I think the same thing could work great on Castle Rock's end also, but to just allow the ATVs to go to and from, you're gonna have issues with other people coming in and out of the parks and want to drive where they're not necessarily where they should be. It's not to, like you stated, Mr. Marshall, not to drive around the park, it's to get to and from. But if you're allowing it, it's very hard to say the same difference of only to and from. How many times are they gonna send the grandkids at 17 up to the office to get ice? And then they're gonna be the ones that get in trouble for driving where they're not, what they're not supposed to do. But then again, where do you, as you say, the revenue, yeah, you get the extra $5 or the $25 for a season pass to go in and out. But it just there's, like Doug stated, we're not against allowing the way people are using, but we just driving everywhere within the main portion of that park, especially as congested as Castle Rock can be, it's bad enough with boats and the trailers and the trucks and outlets. You don't want to add potentially 25, 30, 40, 50 of these machines driving all around at the same time also.
Okay, thank you.
Move on. Right, thank you.
You were not gonna make any decision.
No, I
Get
understand.
it out there.
Yeah.
Keep looking at it. Okay, next thing is the discuss or act on a resolution to participate in the state of Wisconsin motorized recreation grant programs and designate the county's contact agent.
I was just gonna have a comment about opening that east side of Z. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to take a vote on that, or you're okay with if we change that policy? And I would like to see ATVs using that east side of the park.
Would this be an ordinance change? Just opening up the east side of Z.
That would be more of a policy thing.
I'm not sure what you're asking for. I mean,
Like I said, although we are against keeping ATVs out of the congested area of the park.
right,
Yeah, I'd like to open up that east side of the park to ATV traffic.
no, I'm not sure what you're requesting of this committee. I mean, do we need a motion to open it up?
Can you want to vote on that, or you're fine with us making that decision to go ahead and do it?
Fine with you making the decision.
Thank you.
No, going with the ordinance, what we already have.
Mr. Chair, I'm not fine with just going ahead with it. I think I need more information on the east side of the park. I'd like more information.
Put it on the agenda for our next meeting then. We'll take it up to the next meeting. There's still gonna be snow on the ground. Now, what about this resolution?
I think Gary made a motion.
He did.
I don't like it.
Jerry, did you make a motion?
No, I didn't. I was just trying to get a hold of you. I'm having trouble with my computer. I wanted to ask what happened on the ATV, UTV thing. I didn't get done.
We didn't change anything. We just listened.
Was there? There was no vote?
No,
Okay.
now we're up to the 11A resolution.
Was there? Say that again, please.
We're on 11A, the resolution.
Okay, I got you.
Okay,
Okay, I will motion to approve that.
who wants to talk about the resolution?
He just made a motion to approve, to,
Jerry, did you just make a motion to approve the resolution?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, we have a motion to approve the resolution. We have a second? I'll second. We have a second. Motion and second to approve the resolution. Any discussion? Josh, Bill,
Bill also,
Bill?
and
Discussion?
Jerry, if you can hear him. Yeah,
Mr. Chair, if I could give a little backstory, if it helps some, maybe save some questions.
Yes.
Every year annually, like what we were speaking about somewhat earlier, is the county enters into a grant agreement with state of Wisconsin for maintenance and grooming of each said trail, ATV, UTV, and snowmobile. And this is the resolution has to be passed every year for the application process. And the county is willing to participate in the program. We are the what you would call, the county is the entity that these clubs need to go through to get this funding available for the maintenance of these said trails. And that's what this is. It's an annual resolution, basically to participate in the program so that this funds can be available to the people that do the work.
Okay, it also mentions the county's contact agent. Is that you?
Yes, that would be either myself or it is asked to have two contact agents for anything unforeseeable if I were to not be present or the county manager not be present, that one of the two of us can handle them documents through them grant process. So,
So the contact agent is county manager and you
yes, or
you. Okay, any other discussion on the grant? Josh?
Mr. Chair, based on our prior discussion, I do not approve of this and I will be voting no.
Chair.
Bill?
It looks like on this resolution that there's more involved in maintenance. What Darren brought up was maintenance, but it has in here acquiring, ensuring, whatever that is, and developing lands for outdoor motorized trail use. It seems to me a rather encompassing resolution that I have seen no plan for anything involved in this other than maintaining trails. This is quite a large undertaking. I don't know how much monies are available. I see no plan. And I see no reason to go ahead with this resolution until there's a plan in place that shows all the things that are on this resolution. Acquiring land, developing land, you got a lot here. Without any kind of
Well, this is something that we're already involved in. We're just renewing it for the next year.
no, you're more than renewing it. You're asking for acquiring, insuring, and developing lands. There should be a plan for that.
Bill? Bill?
Oh, is there any county match money required for this particular grant?
for these programs, there's no match money at all. It's all 100% what comes in as far as work that the clubs do. Goes back out to those,
So it's purely grant funded.
purely grant funded, correct?
What I need to know.
If I could potentially help you. What the maintaining, acquiring, insuring and developing lands, that allows the clubs and gives them the authority through the programs to go out and ask permission to utilize the private property that these clubs use for the snowmobile trails, recreation trails as a whole, that there is a county snowmobile plan that's been in place since 1976 or 77. It's just an ongoing program. Same thing with the ATV program, started in approximately 92 or 93. Them plans are all part of the county government and working through it.
Chair,
Bill?
again, we're not, we're basically talking about maintaining. There's nothing about acquiring, insuring, or developing lands. I think we need a specific plan to identify one of those in the resolution and forget about the rest if there's no plan in developing lands. That's a pretty expensive. Expensive
grant
and
money.
extensive.
We don't have to add anything.
You don't, yeah, there's never free money.
Yes, it is.
Rocky, no, there isn't.
Yes, it is.
Once you get the money, then you have to maintain things. You're talking a pretty major, I don't know who wrote this up, but you're talking about a pretty major undertaking if you utilize what's on this resolution.
It's the same thing we did last year.
I wasn't here.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say, Phil?
I just want to make one more comment, unless I'm badly mistaken. I specifically asked for clarification about county matching funds. You all heard,
Right?
it's all free money.
Free light.
I would, that should have answered a lot of our questions, I would have thought. The other thing is, when it comes right down to it, if there's concerns about this plan that may lead the county into spending some of the county funds, that would all have to get approved through the county board ultimately anyway, would it not?
Yes, it would.
So, I mean, it seems to me we're kind of belaboring the subject, I'm sorry, but, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All those in favor of this resolution, say aye. Aye. Jerry? Jerry Taylor.
Well, buddy, you made the motion.
You wanna try calling them?
Jerry, this is we're looking for your vote on the resolution. That you
Resolution for the grant money.
yes,
Yes, I vote yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay, all those opposed, say nay.
Okay,
Aye. Nay.
2 nays, 3 ayes, it passes. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, well, stay on the line with me now because I can't get an electric connection, so
Okay,
just stay on the line with me.
we're on the line.
Is there anything else left? I
Yeah.
can't.
Oh, yeah, we're up to 11, Charlie.
Okay,
Next thing is truck bids for the Parks Department.
okay, yeah, I read through that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, it's the same quote that we had for maintenance earlier. We'd be looking for the same motion for the parts, one vehicle, correct?
Same stipulation of the 47,000 to allow for the undercoating.
Yeah, same thing for the undercoating and bed liner. We get two big ones.
I'm confused slightly, I'm sorry. We all figured out here? Okay, we're looking for a motion to accept the bid. The bid conditions are the same as the ones for the maintenance, not to exceed 47,000 to allow for the undercoating cost. We have a motion,
Okay,
undercoating and
Deadline.
bed liner. Do I have a motion to accept the bid?
motion, Rocky,
Yeah, Jerry.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion to accept the bid. We have a second. Bill seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Aye, nay.
Okay, motion passes. Discuss and act on Fair Board annual report. Huh?
Just need-
So we need a motion to move the Fair Board annual report to the forward to the county board.
I'll make that.
And Jerry makes the motion to forward it to the county board. We have a second. Bill, seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jerry,
Aye.
opposed? Say nay.
Aye, nay.
Bill, you got a vote one way or the other?
I voted aye.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll fast forwarded, update on the committee. Does that? Any committee updates? Okay, any items for the next agenda? Give them to Jerry or Liana. Next meeting date, April 10th, 2 p.m. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
So, goodbye, Jerry.